Hello guys, welcome back to TFD. Do me a favor, like, comment, subscribe, and share the channel because what's going on with the Indiana Fever is unbelievable. The Indiana Fever just can't seem to catch a break. They've dropped below 500 once again. This time, it was a tough 85-75 loss to the Los Angeles Sparks on Thursday night, right in front of a packed, sold-out crowd at Gainbridge Fieldhouse. The team had just wrapped up a 3-game road trip and came back looking to make a statement, and for a while they did. Once again, they had a double-digit lead, up by 10 heading into the fourth quarter. But then, everything fell apart. The Sparks completely took over, outscoring the Fever 35-5 in the final frame. That's not a typo, 35-5. The Sparks shot a ridiculous 78% from the field and didn't turn the ball over once. Postgame, Coach Stephanie White was clearly frustrated. She pointed out that LA scored on 3 straight possessions using the exact same play, and the Fever just couldn't adjust. That's the kind of stuff that stings. It's a disappointing collapse, no doubt about it. The Fever were hoping to build momentum and finally climb above .500, but now they'll have to regroup fast with another road trip coming up.
Yeah, I think that we haven't shown a killer instinct yet, and that's, we have had a tendency to relax in those moments instead of, for lack of a better term, go for the kill, right? We've had empty possessions where we've been too lax with the basketball and have either taken poor shots or not valued every opportunity we have to score. We've had breakdowns on the defensive end of the floor. It's moments of mental lapses or mental relaxation that you can't have in this league.
Man, it's been a wild few days in the Indiana Fever universe. Let's break it all down. First off, the big headline, Caitlin Clark is out again, and this time it's with a left groin injury. Not long ago, it was a left quad strain, and now this. Stephanie White said in pregame what the status was, and honestly, she kept it vague, day to day. Same thing she said before with other injuries that turned into longer absences. So yeah, they're clearly going to be cautious with her, but the signs were there. During that 3-game road trip, Clark went 1-4, 23 from deep. That's not her. She didn't look right, didn't look confident or comfortable, and now we know why. And without her, the Fever have now dropped to 2-4 when she's not on the floor. For the record, they're 5-4 with her. That kind of says everything. Now to the second big shakeup. DeWanna Bonner is no longer with the team. Yup, just like that. She asked for a move, said the fit wasn't right, and instead of a trade, the Fever went ahead and waived her, letting her choose her next landing spot. It's a pretty wild development considering she started the first 3 games of the season. This was a veteran with 2 wnba titles, the 3rd all-time scorer in league history, someone expected to lead and bring a championship mindset. But sometimes, it just doesn't click. And that's exactly what happened here. Meanwhile, things up front are getting even thinner because Damaris Dantas is also unavailable. She's off representing Brazil and Santiago, Chile for the national team over the next couple of weeks. So now you've got Bonner gone, Dantas out, and a team scrambling to find answers in the front court. That's why the Fever made another move, bringing back Ari McDonald. She was with the squad briefly earlier this season when both Caitlin Clark and Sophie Cunningham were sidelined, and now she's back in the mix to help bolster the backcourt. She's quick, scrappy, and gives them some depth, which they badly need right now. So yeah, a lot going on in Fever territory. Injuries, exits, and lineup shakeups all over the place. Let's see how they weather this stretch.
I was excited for sure, and I knew I was confident I was going to come back. I had talks with Kelly and Amber and Coach before leaving, and it just felt like it was a place to be. I love the girls; they're amazing. Good basketball players with better human beings. Love the staff, and it just really felt like home. So I'm excited to just play for this organization, just keep building chemistry and getting better.
Man, all these roster moves just keep piling up. And it really tells the story of what's been a chaotic, disjointed first quarter of the season for the Indiana Fever. You want to know why they're sitting at 7-8 right now. This is it. There's been no real continuity, no rhythm, no chemistry. How can there be when the lineup changes every other night? 1 minute you've got a full squad, next thing you know, a key player's out with injury, someone else is waived, And now you're bringing in a new face who's still learning the system. It's been disruptive, plain and simple. And that's not even a knock on the talent. It's just hard to build momentum when the rotation keeps shifting. The Fever haven't had a consistent stretch where everyone's healthy and settled into their roles. That takes time, and right now, time is something they don't have a lot of. So yeah, 7 to 8 makes sense when you look at the bigger picture. It's been a bumpy start, and until they find some lineup stability, expect more of the same roller coaster results.
Disappointing night for Indiana. The coaches meet at center courts.
I think we're trying to figure it out. You're right, we've had double-digit leads going into the fourth, and then we just let it slip. And so for us, we got to be better from top to bottom. We have to have better energy, better focus. And at the end of the day, like, we've shown that we can do it. It's all about consistency, and we're trying to give each other grace and patience. But at some point, you gotta dig in and say enough is enough.
And we have to have foul discipline. Like, we can't give up like soft fouls in the fourth quarter and then they're in the bonus. It just comes down to executing and just guarding our yards and adjusting and making teams do something different.
Thursday night's game. Yeah, it was choppy, to say the least. We had multiple reviews, a bunch of questionable out-of-bounds calls, and honestly, a few officials I don't even recognize. And I've been watching this league for a long time, so that definitely caught my eye. Just a weird, disjointed vibe all around. Now, the Fever had a real opportunity to take control in that second quarter. The Sparks went nearly 9 minutes without scoring. They just couldn't get anything to drop. And yet, Indiana couldn't capitalize the way they should have. Sure, they had a spurt, but they only managed to build a 4-point lead by halftime. That should have been at least a 10-point cushion, maybe more. Coach Stephanie White pointed it out after the game. She said this team is still missing that killer instinct. And she wasn't just talking about the fourth quarter. She meant right there in the second, when you've got your foot on your opponent's neck and you let them breathe instead of shutting the door. It's those little missed chances, those stretches where you should pull away and don't, that keep haunting this team. And it showed again Thursday night.
Yeah, I think after they punched us in the mouth, we responded defensively and we were able to get out in transition and get some easy buckets. We've got to continue to do that, and we don't always have to get offense from our defense, but it starts our break. It allows us to get out and to do what we want to do. Now, we don't run quite as much without Caitlin on the floor, but we still need to be able to and get out and get some easy ones. But yeah, I think that period where they went like 9 straight and we only scored 5 points. We've got to be able to take advantage right there, and sometimes it's not always taking the first shot. It's making sure we get the best shot. It's making the defense guard multiple actions. I felt like during that stretch we either turned it over or we took quick ones that were maybe contested ones. It's an area of growth for our team, and it has been, and we got to find a way to flip the switch and be able to approach every single possession for 40 minutes with an intention and with an intensity and sense of urgency.
This marks the 4th straight game where the Indiana Fever were outscored by 9 or more in the fourth quarter. And once again, it was a tough pill to swallow. They faded late, again, and that's becoming a troubling pattern. 3 of those last 4 games have ended in losses, and these are the kinds of games you look back on at the end of the season and think, this is where it slipped. Whether you're on the outside looking in come playoff time, or you're stuck with a lower seed and no home court advantage, games like this can come back to haunt you. To their credit, the Fever didn't make excuses. Sophie Cunningham spoke post-game and said, they've got every reason to give themselves grace. With the injuries, the lineup changes, and the brutal schedule, but at the same time, this is a professional league. You can't hang your hat on excuses. She said it best, they're pros. And as tough as this stretch is, they've got to find a way to push through. No matter who's in or out, no matter what the schedule looks like. Because right now, the lack of fourth quarter execution is costing them, and it's happening too often.
So far this season, we've had a lot of distractions, you can call it, some injuries. Don't know who's playing. And so there's just a lot of distractions, but I think that's really good for us. Let's go through the adversity early. Let's learn from it. Good news is we're not going to peak too early, so I mean that's a positive. But I think it's not an excuse. Everyone's playing a back-to-back. Everyone has this kind of rough schedule. For us, we get another opportunity tomorrow, and we got to capitalize on it. Dallas is a team that's hungry for a win. And we talked about this. We are circled on everybody's schedule. Everyone, no one likes us, right? So everyone in our locker room, that's the only type of people that we have that we can lean on, and we got to be better in that area. We have got to stay disciplined, we have to stay focused, we need to get consistent, and we got to lean on each other. And I think that we've kind of wavered a little bit on that. We have our own islands, but as one of the leaders on the team, I got to do a better job of grouping people, right? In the fourth, it's going to kill us, right? Like they scored 35 points, I think you guys said. That just cannot happen. Can't happen. Or if they do, then we need to be scoring 35, 36, 37 points. So we just got to be better from top to bottom. But the schedule thing, that's just an excuse. We're in this league. We're pros, and you got to be a pro, and tomorrow we got to bring it.
This has been a grueling stretch for the Fever. 5 games in 7 days, and it doesn't stop there. They've got that Commissioner's Cup game coming up next week, which adds even more pressure. That one has real stakes, a $500,000 prize pool up for grabs, split among the players. So yeah, the intensity is about to go up even more. But let's be real, this Fever team has to be better. They've got to be more disciplined, more tough-minded, especially down the stretch of games. Now look, I actually thought they set the tone pretty well in the first half, especially on the defensive end. Offense was a struggle for both teams early, but the Fever were active. They racked up 11 steals, 4 from Sophie Cunningham, 4 from Aaliyah Boston, and forced 14 Sparks turnovers before halftime. That's how you stay in games when your shots aren't falling. But the problem? It all faded in the second half. The Sparks tightened up, had 5 turnovers in the third and 0 in the fourth. And when the Fever couldn't turn defense into offense anymore, the Sparks made them pay, getting good looks inside and finishing the game, shooting a blistering 50% from the field. That's just not acceptable. On the other end, shooting woes continue for Indiana. They went 7, 4, 28 from 3. A lot of those were wide open, clean looks. They just didn't drop. Kelsey Mitchell hit 4 of them, 2 or 3 coming in that third quarter, but she can't be the only reliable perimeter threat. Bottom line, if the Fever want to stay in the playoff hunt and compete in the Cup, they've got to sharpen up in multiple areas. It starts with closing games stronger, hitting open shots, and maintaining that first half level of defense for 4 full quarters.
The ball's got to move. I felt like the ball got stuck. We held it a lot. We kept it on one side of the floor a lot. We didn't really make them work side to side defensively.
The Indiana Fever didn't waste any time clearing out of Gainbridge Fieldhouse late Thursday night. They had a flight to catch. Destination, Dallas. Fortunately, it's a charter flight direct, but still, this is a rare and brutal back-to-back stretch. And remember, this isn't just any game in Dallas. It's the first ever WNBA game at the American Airlines Center. The spotlight is huge, and it was supposed to feature 3 former number 1 picks, Paige backers, Caitlin Clark, and Aaliyah Boston. But at this point, Caitlin's availability feels unlikely. She just underwent another MRI this week to check on that lingering left groin issue. She was on the bench Thursday, in sweats, supporting her team, smiling, but it's clear they're playing the long game with her recovery. Unless she suits up soon, we probably won't hear from her until sometime next week. And honestly, with how fast the schedule is moving, the Fever can't afford to dwell on anything. Friday's matchup in Dallas will be their 4th game in 6 days, and that includes flying west, coming back home, and now heading back out again. It's a grind. The players and coaching staff are clearly frustrated by the jam-packed schedule, but they also know it's out of their control. There's no time to complain. You just have to lace up and play through it. Now, there is some motivation built into this next stretch. Friday's game could mark win number 100 for head coach Stephanie White. And after that, it's another quick turnaround to a massive showdown on July 1st, Fever at Minnesota, for the Commissioner's Cup. That's the trophy this team is eyeing. It's not just pride and a shot at silverware, it's money. We're talking around $40,000 to $50,000 per player if they win. And for a team that hasn't won a title or even a playoff game in over a decade, the chance to make history and earn a serious bonus, that's real motivation. There's no room to sulk after another fourth quarter collapse. The Fever need to regroup, fast, and bring that fire to Dallas. Then it's on to Minnesota, and possibly their biggest game of the year. So get down. In comments section, tell us what you're thinking about these games, and don't forget like and subscribe for daily updates.